Okay, today we're gonna bond an electrical panel that's bonded improperly, and it was bonded improperly because this pull equipment and the GFCI breaker keeps tripping. And when I found out why it was tripping was because the neutral and the ground are connected. And what the GFCI breaker does, it senses the difference in potential between the ground and the neutral. And since they're both together, it can't sense that, and it just keeps giving you what they call nuisance tripping. Some people want GFCI after GFCI, and they think you're going to be super protected, but you're not. You're going to get nuisance tripping. You cannot put two neutrals backing each other, one behind the other, two GFCIs, excuse me, behind each other, because you get nuisance tripping. So what they did here on this panel was put the neutrals and the grounds together. So what I did was I took the main ground and bonded my own ground here that comes from the main disconnect. This is not the first means of disconnect. So these grounds have to be separated from these neutrals in order for it to operate. And this is, of course, you're hot here and you're hot here. And it's an energized panel, so I'm being very careful. And here's the wire you can use uh, to bring it in. This one right here. So this ground right here, this is the main ground from the main panel. This one right here. So I'm about to disconnect this and bond it up here. And then take this ground wherever it comes from and bond it up here. That should be the only ground. I see two grounds. One. Here's another one. So where's the other one at? That's what I like to know. Oh, okay. So they ran it straight through. They ran it straight through to that plug right there. So they did a lot of weird things here because they landed the black wire for that plug over there, right here. Oh, but there's another plug here. So one plug is feeding the other. That's what they did here. So I will correct that, the grounding situation here. And then we will go to the pull side and bond that as well for it to be correctly. Uh, Alex here will be doing most of the recording as I work. So bear with us as we move forward. There you go, Alex. So what I'm doing here is I'm taking the grounds off and putting them correctly in there because this is going to be a GFCI breaker right here. But in order for me to do that, I have to make sure that the grounds are not landing with the neutrals. And the reason I don't want the grounds to be with the neutrals because the neutral is a load bearing wire. So it has electricity on it. And we don't want that. We want the grounds and the neutrals to be separate. Always. So I made my own bus for the grounds so they can be separate. And the trick to that is that the neutral and the ground are bonded together at the first means of disconnect. That means at the very first disconnect. This is like the third sub panel down. There's like four sub panels here. So this one should, the ground and the neutral should be separate. Separate and not equal. They're not equal, separate and not equal. So that's what you need to know. So I'm going to disconnect the main ground now, and I'm hoping that this main ground is not being used as the energized wire. And I'll know that if it arcs. So I'm about to take it off and touch it like this in here, and it's not arcing. So since the ground is not arcing, that tells me that at least is right. So I landed in another ground bar. The main ground has bonded to the ground now. And I took all my grounds off of the neutral bar. Because the only place you can bond a ground and neutral is at the main first means of disconnect, as we learned by code. So now I put all my stuff back. I didn't do this panel. I'll make it look as clean as possible. If I have some tie wraps, I'll probably come back, put some tie wraps on this thing, and make it look a little leaner, cleaner. So what they used was indoor wire right here, and there's nothing I can do about that. But this jacket tells me that they use indoor wire to feed over there the pool, which they shouldn't have done. They should have used regular wire, meaning it's not with this jacket on it, to to what you call it. They shouldn't have used that wire to feed it underground to the pool equipment over there. If you see the pool equipment over there. So now that this is bonded correctly, I'm going to leave it open for a second while I go work. Follow me on the pool equipment. So